Welcome to another episode of Girls & Co. We have the two OGs, Taylor, Sam, and a very special guest, the only person we will ever invite on this show. That's a guy. So, welcome.
I like that you clarified that's a guy. That's very cool stuff.
Yeah, because we invite girls.
That's good.
And we do not invite guys. They have to ask to come on, except you.
I think I've weaseled my way into Taylor asking me. There were hints dropped. I was like, oh, you could ask me.
I just think you're...
I planted the seed.
I just think you're so interesting and, like, you're pretty private. So, like, just, like, wanted to get, like, a little... something.
Yeah.
I am. I've become more private once I started working here than I used to be in life.
Smart.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I kind of just, like, separate work from, like, personal life. I think that's kind of what most people do.
Yeah, 1,000%. Well, we start off every episode with talking about our weekend. So, run through our weekend. Sam, what'd you do? And we never remember them either.
I think it's hard to remember what you do.
It is.
We had the Talking Yanks event.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
That was a lot of fun. Very successful. The Yankees won.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there mostly all day on Saturday. And then Sunday, didn't do much. I slept in, went to the gym, and like nothing much. But it was great.
Still going strong with your workout classes.
Yes,
Still
I
loving
am.
it.
Yes, I like it a lot.
Good.
And then it was my sister's birthday on Monday.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Happy
And you got her a
belated.
great gift.
yes, I actually got her 2 great gifts, if I do say so myself. I got her.
Wow, okay.
I stopped in the street and bought her like a poem from like one of those little things.
It was so cool.
It was really great. And then I got her and Grady 2 tickets to the Color Factory.
I love that.
Wait,
Yeah.
what did you tell the person making the poem?
I said
great
it's my
question.
sister. Like, this can be for my sister's birthday. We always joke about how for 2 weeks of the year we're only 1 year apart because normally we're 2, and we always joke that's like the best time of the year and whatever. So she threw in a little thing like that. She threw in how like Mac recently moved to the city. So I didn't like give her a ton, but she worked in like what I gave her, and it was great. It was so cute.
I love that.
I love
so
it.
wholesome.
I know.
Did you know where to go, or did you just run into somebody?
I know these are like kind of a thing. And one time, so I took the long way home from work, walked like up to 59th to take the train, and then like a while ago I had seen someone with that setup. I don't know if it was the same girl. And so now I walked past her, and I was like, oh wait, that's kind of fun. So then I walked back, and did it. Yeah. So I didn't like know it was gonna be there, but I was like, oh, this is meant to be.
I literally stole the idea from Sam on Friday because there's always one in front of the Met, and there's 2 girls in Central Park by that famous fountain. And I wanted to get it for my parents' anniversary. So I did them a gift and like put like a cheap frame on it and like from Target.
No, I'm obsessed. I'm going to use
It's
it.
Yeah.
honestly
They're great gifts.
the best. I like stole it right from like the exact day.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think there's always a bunch in Washington Square Park
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
2 great gifts.
And it's pay what
Yeah.
you want. It's pay what you want.
Oh, mine was not.
Oh.
Mine was not.
Okay.
Sam got fleeced.
Okay.
Sam got
Mine
the
was
best.
not.
Okay.
But
The
it's
ones
okay.
in Central Park are
It's
pay
the
what you want.
experience. That's what I thought. So to be fair, she
That
had a
way,
misleading sign that did draw me in. It was like, pick your price, pick your poem. And I was like, okay, great. And then it was pick your price because there's 3 different types of paper. So you still technically could, but it was a little...
Different types of paper.
That's
Yeah,
a
one was like-
little.
one
I
was
think
like-
we're 2 in deep.
One was
on
like
Yeah.
plain white computer paper.
Yeah.
One was like a little poem-y, and then one was like handmade paper or something. But the sign worked because it sucked me in.
Yeah,
And
it
then I
did.
wasn't like, oh, sorry, never mind.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like 3 types of paper.
God, so many choices.
Yeah, so that was
cute.
that.
Great. So what did you do?
What did I do? I was home. I was on vacation last week, so
Oh, yeah.
I didn't do very much. And then Sunday, me and Jack.
And your birthday was last week.
It was. And then me and Jack filmed a YouTube video on Sunday, so I worked, and that's kind of it. A lot of
Nice.
work.
That's not bad.
It wasn't bad. I like it.
Okay, good. Taylor, what about you?
I went down to Jersey to visit some friends.
Ooh.
I saw you on a bike.
Yep, I was.
Oh, yeah, I saw you on a city bike.
Yeah, no. They live at the beach, and all they like that is their mode of transportation. They ride bikes or walk everywhere. So I know when I'm going there to expect to be on a bike at some point. However, I was there with one group of friends. We met up with another group of friends,
Yeah.
and then I ended up staying with them for the rest of the night. And so they were short one bike because we didn't anticipate me going with them.
Makes sense.
And then so we had to finagle me and my friend Alex on the same bike. And we did it. And
I was impressed.
her boyfriend and our other friend were like, you guys aren't going to figure that out. And I was like, yes,
Watch.
we are, because we're not walking 12 blocks.
Have you ever ridden a tandem bike?
Mm-hmm.
No, but they had
I'd love
one.
to.
But it
That
got
is a
stolen.
life
Oh.
goal of mine. I've told Jack, I was like, hey, man, You gotta ride a tandem bike.
That
Like,
feels
I
like
know-
on ice. Rides a tandem bike around Hoboken.
Yeah, I said,
my
dude,
God.
that'd be so funny.
I would watch that.
That's
I
so
would.
funny.
I just want to do it. It's on my life goal list. I'm like, I just want to casually be riding a tandem bike in a place you shouldn't be, like in New York City traffic.
Yeah.
And you like bring your tandem bike like on the subway.
Like, sorry guys, we're late for work. That'd be so funny.
Wait, that would be so funny.
So funny.
You come on, everyone's looking at you. You're like, sorry, we're late for work.
couldn't
You guys
excuse us,
get off
excuse
and then
us.
just ride your bike away.
No, I don't think you could acknowledge it. You couldn't like be
No.
like,
That's
sorry.
so
You just
funny.
have to be like, this is how I get to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how
This
we
is normal.
get to work every day.
Yeah.
It's a group project.
That's amazing.
Yeah, normal.
What did you do, Pax?
My parents were in town.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so they came up, visited. We went to a comedy show on Friday. They came to the Talking Yanks event, which was so great because I feel like they met a lot of people.
Yeah.
My mom specifically asked about you, Zoe. I meant to tell you that.
That's very wholesome.
She specifically she knows you and
I
Jack.
think I've met your mom.
You
before,
have.
right?
And
Yeah.
so she was like, is Zoe gonna be there? I just love his energy.
Oh
He's
my
just so
God.
pleasant.
That is so sweet.
So they got to meet a bunch of people at the Talking Yanks event, which I thought was great.
And we should shout out Julia because we got to meet.
Yeah.
Me and Pax got to meet Julia for the first time.
We
She was
did.
so great. And her
We
husband.
Julia is a Girls & Co. listener.
I was gonna say you knew it. I gave Taylor a look. I was like, "Who's that?"
Yeah,
She
yeah.
immediately she was like, "I got you." Taylor does that to me and is very an essential part of my work life. I just kind of look at her and she explains what's happening.
Julia came up to me at a brewery in my hometown and was like, I listen to
Oh.
Girls & Co. And I was like, what?
That's so
like,
cute.
she knew who I was. So then we talked about her on the show and she always comments and listens and she's like, loves the whole company. And then so she got to meet them.
Shout out Julia.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, she was great. But yeah, that was about it. That was about all I did. And we watched the finale, the Blitzball Battle
Yeah.
3
Did you guys watch
championship.
it at the event?
No,
No,
it
that
was
would've been
Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would've been cool.
But it was
So
crazy.
I forgot so much about that game.
Yes.
I did
same.
too. And occasionally I could see
Same.
where they were like editing my hot mic because I was screaming in the mic for you guys the entire time. And I was like, I got to stop being so biased. I need to like put the mic down.
Those are so weird because you don't really remember, especially when you're in the games. You
Yeah.
don't remember
Yeah.
anything that happens. Especially for like me, I kind of just like check out. I'm like, it's kind of like turning on a switch. It's like in baseball, you know, like relievers have to get like up downs, like where you get up and then they sit down. That's kind of like doing those games.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I gotta emotionally like lock in, and now I'm an entertainer.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the camera comes off, it just shuts down, and I just don't talk for like 2 hours.
No, it makes sense. I mean, it's crazy watching it back.
It was wild seeing our reactions because like I knew we were locked in, like the crowd.
it was
But when
nuts.
I'm
Yeah.
watching myself watch you guys, like our faces, and
so
we're all
fun.
just like so locked in.
Well, and the best too is the video we posted last night to Warehouse that Jimmy did of the loft.
Amazing.
Oh, that was
Good.
cool.
Amazing.
Mikey and Jeff and like Mike DeLeon and Eli, like it was so sweet watching them up there. Mikey really took it as serious.
Oh my
as
gosh.
anyone.
I thought he was going to jump over
Yeah.
with a side at
Yeah.
one
So
point.
nice.
The diehard We Got Ice fan.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
said
he is.
that.
Die
It was-
Hard.
It was
great.
cool to see how invested, not even just like the people who were in it, but just like watching it back, that it actually held up. Because sometimes when you do events, or like even when me and Jack shoot a video, you'll be like, oh, that was awesome, and then you kind of watch it back and it loses its luster or magic. And then I was watching that back and I was like, oh, this is kind of nuts.
It's like
Yeah.
it almost like it does the opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it played.
Yeah.
It played even better on camera.
It
than
did.
It
Yeah.
felt to me in person.
Yeah.
which is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
I loved watching the chat because they're like, like this is gonna be like an easy game, like this is gonna be so boring. I'm like telling my mom and dad, I'm like, it gets crazy,
Lock
guys.
in.
It
I
gets
was
crazy.
blown away how quickly the chat and Rosa Moylan ditched you guys. They're like, oh, this must suck for Ice. Like,
Oh
they've
no,
got
I
nothing. Like,
agree. I would have ditched just mentally.
I
Me and
was
Jack
blown
were
away.
like,
But like everyone knows you can come back from 5 runs. Like
yeah,
it's
but
not that big of it. I was blown away that the chat's like, oh, all right, turn it off. Like we got
I
FOMO.
do
was like,
agree. I was
watch the
surprised.
end of the game.
I wasn't even surprised is the wrong word, but like they were like kind of like unbeatable. Like it would have taken a miracle for us to beat them, and we gave them everything we had. So I
Yeah.
understood the chat's perspective, but it was kind of crazy. I also tried. It's impossible to read the chat when.
Oh
you're
my
just-
god.
Oh my! It was so
Yeah.
fast.
Impossible.
There was, I
You're,
was like,
you're
I'm
not
just,
watching the game.
I'm just
No.
talking to
You're reading.
myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'm just
It's
like
too much.
you'll
just
see-
occasionally throwing an ice cube or a squirt gun in the chat. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I go in there and I just brain dump. I don't even read it. I just kind of like put stuff
Uh-huh.
in, just like be involved. But it's like I can't read that.
No.
That's
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah.
No, especially on your phone because it's literally like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do enjoy when cool stuff happens, and it just
it's the same.
And it flies.
I don't even try
Yeah.
to read it. It's just cool to just see. Just see
Well,
it's
or
graphic.
when like the
I put-
number goes up,
Yeah.
it's like 5K, 5K, 5K,
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that part of this tournament was like having everybody who was like the crew and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like really excited about the numbers.
Yeah.
It's cool to see people get invested
I agree.
in success like that and have like a group effort.
I agree.
Like when during the championship, I actually opened up Slack and I was like, oh, what are people talking about? Like, I was curious. I was like,
I actually
people-
opened up Slack.
I did. I was like, people are invested in this. It
I
was
think
cool.
the thing is everyone's always been invested. It's just we were waiting for the rest of the world to be invested.
Yeah.
sure.
You know what I mean? Like
Well-
it's hard to get excited when the numbers are still like kind of small.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
now that we're seeing the growth, like everyone's outward excitement is just so much like stronger.
Yeah, even again using a baseball analogy, if the Yankees are really good for you guys and everybody's into it, it makes you more into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to
Yeah.
go to a game now.
Yeah.
People are locked
Yeah.
in.
I also think too, it's one of those warehouse weekends, they're a grind for anyone, whether you're playing, whether you're working, whether you're like any role in that warehouse is going to be a grind, and everyone signs up for it and everyone gives their all for it. And I think there is some sort of like camaraderie of that people like. It's good to see that success. It's like
Yeah.
our hard work is paying off, whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, on the field, off the field. Like your hard work is very visibly paying off, and I think that's why people are so excited about it.
It makes sense. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was awesome though.
No, it was definitely cool. Zoe, we're gonna get into your interview. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, perfect. We always start off with a very vague and very deep question. Zoe, who are you?
That's a good question. I am a content creator for We Got Ice / Jomboy Media.
Cool. Where did you grow up?
Worcester, Massachusetts.
Gotcha.
Which is
Okay.
basically a crap hole.
Okay.
I think it's rated like a top 5 worst city in America.
For what reasons?
It's like not nice.
Oh, like not safe?
Like
Certain parts are definitely not
Like
safe.
old?
It's gross.
it's just like run
It's
down.
like every bad part of a city. It's
In
very
New-
bad. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And you grew up with 13 siblings?
Yes, 13 of us in total. So I have
13 of you in total.
I have 12 siblings. Which
Okay.
I actually recently met somebody for the first time who had more siblings than me.
Really?
Which was shocking.
Wow.
Yeah, she
How
had
many?
14. She
Just
was one
one
of
more.
15. And
I
was
love
like,
that.
That's kind of crazy.
That's nuts.
I was like, I thought I had a lot.
So grew up in Massachusetts, lots of brothers and sisters. You were homeschooled. What was it like growing up with that many siblings? Because I think sometimes people either have their own interpretation or like made up ideas of what it would be like. But I feel like it's kind of like you grew up with built-in best friends.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know how to explain it because I don't know anything else. So
Yeah.
when people are like, what
Yeah.
is it like? I'm like, well, what is it like growing up with one sibling?
Yeah.
Like, I
That's a
don't
good
know.
yeah.
I don't know the difference. It was cool. I never disliked it. I always enjoyed it, especially because I have a lot of brothers and we're very close. So we would always just like get to play sports together.
Yeah, that is cool.
So that was always cool. We never played any baseball, that's why like when I got to college and I met like my current group of friends and Jack, it was like, oh, I can explore this passion
Cool.
now. But it was always just kind of chaotic is the word I would use. There was never like quiet. And that there are certain things that like I still have. Like I can't be home in silence. There needs to be something
Yeah.
on in the background.
I could get that.
Because like I'm just so used to noise.
Yeah.
So like if I'm home and there's nothing on, I get like very antsy. I'm like, oh, I need to put something on TV or something in the background.
Where do you fall in the order of siblings?
I'm the 4th youngest. So my oldest sister just turned 37. Happy belated birthday to her. And my youngest sister is 18. Just graduated high school.
Cool.
Kinda
That's
crazy.
awesome. That is
That
crazy.
is great. My only visual of having that many siblings is Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was a
Same.
staple. That movie
Like
was a staple.
that, like so to me, like the fact that you lived that is
Yeah.
so wild. I have
It's so
one
cool.
brother, so like
Yeah.
it's just been the two of us my whole life.
I had
Yeah.
a good conversation with my mom actually this past week because I was like kind of making fun of her. I was like, how did you do that? I was like, why would you do that to yourself? And she's like, it kind of just became a part of my life. She's like, I was just
Wow.
pregnant. She's like, I just got used to it. She's like, I was never sick. I never had any of the bad parts of it. I
So
was
it
just
wasn't,
pregnant.
yeah.
She had like easy.
Yeah, she was like, I was just like
That's
never
cool.
got like really sick. I never had any like really issues. It was just kind of like smooth. I was like, that's nuts.
That is
Yeah.
crazy for that many times.
That's what I was about to
have,
say.
like-
My mom's a beast. Too.
I was about to
She's like-
say.
I woke up, so I stay home with her, and I get woken up at like 7 in the morning, and I was like, what's going on? And she's like, I just got back from a 7-mile walk. And I was like, she's like 60 years old, and she's just killing it. And I was like, all right.
That walk takes a long time.
Pop
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, that's the one thing
She's
that
like,
like
you want to come with me? I was like,
nah.
I'm good. I was like, thanks.
That yeah, you're knowing nothing about your mom must be an absolute badass.
Oh,
Because
her work ethic is nuts.
to be pregnant that many, just that alone, to be pregnant that many times, that's so hard on female body. Like, that's just
Yeah.
an angel
Yeah.
of a human
if you
being.
saw her, you'd be like, oh, she's probably has like, she's never had a kid in her life. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's insane. Okay, so
Wait, I have a question.
She
Do-
did
yeah.
yell at me, though, because she saw
Why?
Nikki Cass's family was at one of the games, and she was like, why am I not at the game?
She
Mom,
needs to
Fair
go.
question.
I was like, I didn't
question.
know that Nikki was bringing the whole extended family. I was like, that's not my fault. I was like, I didn't know this was a thing that was happening.
She needs to come down for a warehouse.
Yeah.
I told her
Yes.
I would have her, if we do a live event, that I would have her come out and be able to go to the event. Because I think that'd be more enjoyable than spending like a day.
In
Because
the
the warehouse
warehouse.
isn't like meant for visitors. Like it's
Yeah.
like a
yeah, it's
everyone's
hard.
working.
Yeah.
So it's like not like, hey, you just kind of have to sit there. But if we're like
Yeah.
at a bar or an event,
True.
and
Yeah.
she can like hang out
Yeah.
and chat with people, I feel like that's a better place to
Yeah.
bring
I
somebody.
agree.
I have a question. Do all of your siblings still live like in the Northeast? Are you
Yeah.
guys like spread out?
I'm the first one who lives out of state.
Whoa.
Wow.
My oldest brother lived in Connecticut for like a couple years, but now he lives back in Mass. So I'm the only one currently living out of state, which is kind of weird when it first
That's
happened.
crazy.
It is very condensed.
Yeah.
Kind of like I feel like that happens with a lot of big families that like they kind of just like stay around each other.
Well, you guys are so used to it. It's almost
Yeah.
like if one of you moved away,
It's like
they're like
an extension
holy-
of your bot is like
Yeah.
gone. You're like, what?
No, yeah, it is weird because
Yeah.
like when I have to go home for family stuff, people are just like, "Oh, just come home." I'm like, "Well, it's kind of like 5 hours."
It's not easy.
I'm like, it's not easy to just commit to go home. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
the first one to move like out of state.
Do you have any nieces or nephews?
I do. I have 5 nieces and nephews now, which is my
Uncle
favorite.
Zoe?
That's
Oh,
that's
Zoe
my
would be a
favorite.
great
I was
uncle.
an uncle at 10 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. My oldest sister had a kid. She's 12 years old now. She's turning 13 soon. So I was an uncle at 12 years old, which is nuts.
That's
in
crazy.
retrospective. Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
niece who's like 12, 13 years old, about to go into high school. And I'm like, dude, what's going on? right
Yeah.
now?
You like watch them grow. They grew up with you.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite part. I like being able to interact with, and while being still young.
Yeah.
So it's not like, so I can actually like talk to them.
Yeah.
And they don't think like I'm an old loser
Yeah.
yet. They're not like, he's just an uncle. They
Yeah,
kinda-
exactly.
Like I don't
Uncle
have,
Zoe.
like I don't have them call me uncle.
No.
I'm like,
No.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, just,
A little too
yeah.
formal.
But I like that part a lot.
yeah, no, that's definitely
That's
cool.
so cool.
So, where'd you go to college?
Fitchburg State University. It's a small school in Mass. I think we had like 120 people graduate. It was like crazy small.
It's so small.
That's tiny. How'd you pick that college?
It was, my brother went to it and it was affordable.
Okay. Hey, that honestly with college, that's a great
yeah, I was
reason.
just like, oh, because I wanted to study journalism. So I was like,
Yeah.
this is a school that I can afford.
Yeah.
So I'm going here.
So, growing up homeschooled and then going to a college, which granted, even a small college is still something different than what
Yeah.
you grew up used to. What was that transition like
Well,
for you?
I got really lucky because I went to a very small school. So
Mm-hmm.
like I think the most amount of people I ever had in the class was like 18 people. So it was actually
So, it
like,
wasn't too
pretty
much of a culture
It was
shock.
like
It
almost
was
the
low-key-
same.
Yeah, no, it was kind of like the same as being home. The only difference
Interesting.
was we were all learning the same subject, which was always an interesting dynamic when we were
Mm-hmm.
homeschooled, is that I'd be learning like 4th grade math and my brother would be learning like senior calculus. So my mom would be like trying to do both and I'd be like, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes she'd like ask me the wrong question. I'm like,
This is like calculus.
Mom,
I don't know.
Mom, that's a fraction.
I don't know what that
That's
is.
a little bit out of my range right now. So it was actually a pretty easy adjustment. I also really wanted to do it. I've always been pretty social, so I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to be in a classroom environment. So I loved it. I loved college so much.
Did you, like growing up being homeschooled and then obviously, you went to college, did you ever want to go to like a public school or something like that? Or
I
were
wanted
you
to play sports,
Okay.
which I didn't get to do, but I didn't really care,
Yeah.
to be honest. Like,
You were happy with where you were at and what you were doing.
yeah, it's tricky thing about having 14 kids is like pretty expensive. So
I can imagine.
Or
So,
like
I never
the
really-
schedule.
Yeah.
How do you bring Zoe to like
Yeah,
his
so-
his soccer and someone else to their
Yeah.
football and like all these things at the same
That's a good
time?
point.
I think that's something that me and my siblings were pretty good at, is we were always very understanding of the situation.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't really need to go to public school. I don't care
Yeah.
that much. Also, like, everything I've heard about public school, I'm kind of good with it. Like, it doesn't sound
you
that
ended
fun.
up okay.
Like,
Yeah.
some mornings I got to wake up at like 9. And
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, now I'm going to go do school instead of going sitting on a bus. So I like being
Yeah, that's true.
homeschooled.
So you go to school and you study journalism
Yes.
and you meet Jack Doyle. How did you two meet? How did this friendship come about and bloom into what it is now?
I don't really know.
Okay.
To be-
Okay.
We met on the first day of college. All of my college friend group, everyone I'm friends with to this day, we all met same class, same day, basically math for dummies. It was like math class. They introduced this math class at my school where if you failed your placement test, they wouldn't make you take, you know how you have to do like basic math and it doesn't count towards college credit?
Yeah.
They introduced a class and they were like, hey, if you're like a film major or an English major, just take this class and if you pass it, we'll count it as your math credit. So we were all like, let's go. We all failed our placement test. So we were like, let's do it. So I met like everyone I'm friends with in the same class. And me and Jack would like hang out, like go to parties together in groups and stuff. But it wasn't really till COVID that I think we actually started like hanging out or talking like one-on-one. Really, just because like we did a radio show in college together that was sports with a friend of mine, and then we were like, oh, once COVID happened, Jack had already started something. So he just reached out to me because I was already in that field.
Yeah.
So it kind of was just like, oh, let's just start working
like an
together.
easy.
And then our friendship kind of took off when we worked together. After that.
So before you met Jack, what was your like plan? What did you have in mind to do with school and after school and all of that career-wise?
It's always interesting now that I look back on it. I think it's always easier to say you have a plan. You had a plan when something worked out. It's always like, well, I was going to do this, and this. When it's like, I don't actually know. I always wanted to be an entertainer. I just didn't know what avenue that was. Like as a kid, I really wanted to like do plays and stuff. Or I really wanted to be like an actor. That was a big dream of mine as a kid. So I always knew I wanted to do some sort of like entertaining. So I wanted to do radio was like my big. I went to college to study journalism because they didn't offer like radio.
Yeah.
And also I don't have like a very traditional radio demeanor. So I was like, oh, I'll start by like writing and then work my way into radio. So that was my plan, was to do like radio, which was a bad plan, guys. Don't do radio.
Well,
kind of a dying. I wanted to write for newspapers and do radio, both dying breeds.
I was going to say, barely alive.
Which is very opposite of what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Now
very
my job
opposite.
is to ride current social media platform trends and stay relevant. And my previous career choices were to go into dying industries. So very opposite ways to end up.
So when Jack approached you, I mean, because he was already doing this whole TikTok thing, when Jack approached you with this concept, how did he approach you with this? How did he bring you on? What was kind of the beginning phases of what is We Got Ice that we know today?
The first iteration of it, like we had a previous name for it, was not like, it was very weird. I don't remember him like asking me. You just
kind of were like,
yeah, he was
there.
just like, hey, do you want to record this like podcast on like crappy mics together? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Just kind of, I never really thought of it as like doing any content or anything. That's kind of how We Got Ice in general has always kind of worked. Is Jack, I would say, is the brain or the visionary of it. Like he'll be like, hey, I have an idea. We're going to shoot a wiffle ball video the first time. We're going to film it at bat. And I kind of like in improv, you know, the yes and. I would say that's kind of how some of our content relationship works.
Okay.
Jack will say yes, and then I will say and. We do this. He'll be like, we're going to go to this place and shoot this video. And I'll be like, and how? Or and what's next? Or and what do we do here? That's kind of how it's always worked. I've always just been like, whatever his vision of something is, I'm like, all right, how do we make it happen? Or let's just do that. So when he originally pitched it to me, like, we're going to make TikToks, I was just like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not?
I didn't have TikTok. I wasn't a social media person at all. I still don't really use social media. Like, I don't. You know how people say they'll watch TikToks for hours?
Yeah.
I've never done that in my life. Like, I don't scroll on social media at all. So I'm just like, oh, I'll just make the videos with you, and then that's kind of it. I'm kind of like an actor in that sense of the videos. Like, I'll just be in them, and then Jack has more of the vision of how to utilize that.
Oh, I mean, I definitely see that dynamic between you two. I mean, Jack, I feel like I always kind of like using and this is maybe weird to say, but like the balloon analogy of like Jack's the balloon and you're the string that's being held.
No, yeah. I
like
think
the logistical aspect of it, the making it come to life type of thing.
I think one of our better traits is knowing what we're good at and knowing what we're bad at. And I would never say, like, if someone would ask me who did this, it's always been Jack is definitely the brain behind the operation. Like, he wanted to be a content creator. Like, I didn't. Like, I didn't want to make YouTube videos. So it was like, oh, he watched people do this as a kid. He was the one who introduced me to Jomboy. Like, he showed me breakdowns. Like, I didn't know. I would have never found that. So it's always been kind of his vision, and then I've been helping mold that and make it into mine as well.
What was it like with the first video that you guys did together popped off and like had great success? What were you guys thinking, feeling? Kind of like, was that a fluke?
I've never gotten I don't know. I think Jack would have a very different answer to this than I would. But my answer, speaking for myself, would be I never have gotten great, like, views don't make me, like, feel anything. Like, if a video does really well, I don't feel anything. Yeah. Or, like, my perspective on it is a video does really well, I just wonder how to do it again. And then if a video does really bad, I wonder why. Like, I kind of, like, try to stay in the middle. So, like, when videos crush, I don't get happy about it. I'm just like, all right, let's how do we replicate that? Yeah. And then when videos stink, it's all right, let's critique that. Yeah. Kind of like water will always find its level is my life mantra. So just stay in that middle on any, especially for content. It's too up and down. Yeah. That is a great life mantra, by the way, which Dalton, I think, and one other person were the only people that were able to guess Zoe's life mantra. It's a video coming out soon. Jack definitely didn't get that. No, definitely didn't. They guessed his mantra? So I had everyone all the creators send me their life mantras, and then I put them on flashcards, and then had the creators stand in front of the camera and guess. And Dalton was like, Zoe likes water. I think that's Zoe. I think got most it. People like and I was like, okay. All right. Anyways, back to a question. How did you get here? You were introduced to Jomboy by Jack with breakdowns from what you just said. How did you guys get in contact? How did the conversation start? You ended up at Blitzball 1. How did that happen? There is a really funny story, which is kind of embarrassing now. I love those. I was going to say, please. It is pretty funny now. I remember it was like midnight. And me and Jack had just finished recording, like, an episode of our old podcast, and it was, like, crappy. And we were just like, all right, we're done. And we stopped, and we got a Twitter DM from Jimmy. And then we just, like, FaceTime for, like, 30 minutes. Like, how do we respond to this? And it was just, like, we had, like, no idea. Like scheming together what to say. We were like, do we make a joke? Do we be serious? He sent us, like, a joke message. I don't remember what. I actually do. He was like, do you want to come, like, toss around balls with a couple old men? And we were like, do we respond in a joking manner? Will he know that means yes? And then, like, we overanalyzed it, like you read about, to a T. And so we spent, like, 35 minutes trying to respond. And then Jimmy responded in, like, 5 seconds. Like, in his classic way, like, okay, sounds good. We ended up, like, making, like, a bad joke, and it, like, didn't land. And we were like, shit. But then, then he was just, like, ended up meeting him to play Blitzball in Sleepy Hollow, and that was kind of it. It was just like, we just showed up. And then you guys were in Blitzball Battle 1. Yes. And essentially were playing for a job. Yeah, that was, I don't know if people know that was, like, kind of fake. I don't, because, I mean, that was definitely, like, Jimmy kind of, like, revealed to us when we got there. He's like, I'm going to build this up as a storyline. It was kind of a build-in for baggage, like Sam's doing right now with floorball. Because, like, if they beat us, then, it's like, we beat them, we won. And then if they lost, they were like, well, at least they get the job. It was a win-win. Yeah, I like to make fun of Jake about that sometimes. Yeah, I don't think people realize that was a joke, because you guys did actually end up working after it aired and it came out. Yeah, and then you guys were like, oh, we're working here now. That's always been something interesting. Is I think from the first day we met, Jimmy and Jake, we've been able to kind of joke with each other, like we've known each other for a while, which was always interesting because we're so far apart in age, but, like, we have very similar. Like, a lot of people say that Jack is like Jimmy and I'm like Jake. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting that immediately we've been able to always, like, understand when people are joking and when they're not, which has made it easy since we do a lot of content together now. Yeah. What was the transition like going from, I mean, it was just you and Jack, and you and Jack still do obviously a lot of your own We Got Ice content. You're in the warehouse all the time, but now you're coming into the city, you're in the office, you're surrounded by a bunch of other creators, and it's a much bigger, like, creation group of us. What was that transition like going from just you two to all of us? That's a good question. It's still kind of interesting is the word I would use, because we are still so new into the content creation space. Like, I think the past, like, 3 months, I think we've finally started opening up our potential to do content. Like, we've just started, like, doing stuff that I think, like, I'm like, oh, we're proud of this. Like, this is good content. So it was very interesting the first couple months, because it was just, like, trying to find a balance of making new content for ourselves that could sustain us long term, and, like, getting off of just, like, short form content, while also learning how to live in a big city and, like, work for a media company. And it's your first real job. Yeah, and we just graduated college, and then we moved 2 weeks later. And it was like, oh, now we live in the city. And, like, we had our first apartment, basically.
Oh, y'all's apartment stories are my favorite thing on the face of
Yeah. It was like, oh, now we're just, like, living in the city, and we have to, like, commute to work.
Yeah.
Like, figure that out. I was like, oh, we have to pay water bill?
And, like, be adults.
Yeah.
Be adults is the word.
Yeah.
And, like, be a lot more responsible because
Yeah.
you have, like, a much bigger platform. And it was like, oh, now what we say in other videos as well and how we carry ourselves, like, actually matters. That was the biggest adjustment. It was just, like, we're not in control of all the content anymore. So it's like we're now characters in other people's videos. Whereas, like, when you make your own video, you can kind of make it how you want it.
You can control the narrative.
You can control the narrative. Whereas now you're just, like, starring in videos makes it a lot more different.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. Going back to your apartment, just real quick, does the washer and dryer work yet?
No.
Or have we just not tried to fix that?
I might bring you and Sam to resolve this issue.
Oh my God. So I told you to talk to them so long ago.
I'm scared. Landlord scared. My secret of life is that I'm always nervous, so I never get more nervous about situations. Like when there's like a big event happening, I'm not more nervous than I just regular am because I'm constantly nervous. But that's kind of like it helps me though in certain situations. Like when it's like a lot, people are like, "There's a lot of pressure." I'm like, "Well, I'm already nervous, so I'm used to this feeling."
Yeah, we're good at this level.
Yeah, I'm good at being like kind of nervous, but I don't want to talk to a landlord. That sounds awful.
How long have you lived in this apartment? A year.
Over a year.
And your washer/dryer has never worked?
It worked. I'm trying to. Day 1 it worked, and then day 2 it didn't. And then this is a really funny story. So the second we moved in on like a Friday, and then that Sunday, me and Jack tried to take care of the problem ourselves, and we tried to fix it.
Okay.
Long story short, the washer is just like in the kitchen, like disassembled. Somehow we got disassembled, and then 2 outlets broke. And then Jack opened our kitchen door to our house, and like the whole seal thing fell off. So we've made a pact to each other since then that we refuse to fix anything. Yeah. We just leave it because we're like, we don't want to break it. So I haven't touched this thing since that day.
And you have not spoken to the landlord about it?
We asked him once. He came over to fix like our toilet or something, and we were like, "Hey, could you like take a look at this?" And he took a look at it, and then just like never said anything.
So you pay to live in that apartment?
Hey,
like
man.
that's your appliance. Like
Hey.
they have to fix it.
I'll have Sam take care of it.
Okay, give me their phone number.
Honestly,
Actually, no, I'm scared because you'll probably take care of it and like actually talk to him.
And your life will be easier when you have a washer that works.
But I don't want to make him upset.
It's
his job.
You're upset.
literally
He probably
paying.
loves fixing things.
No, no landlord likes fixing things.
They have to.
Their
Yeah,
number
but
one
like by
job
law, they
requirement.
have to fix like
This
what's
feels
in
like
your apartment.
less of an interview and more of an intervention.
Wait, I want to also add that you guys live with Jack's girlfriend, Caitlin.
God.
Yes. She
What an
lives
angel.
with Jack and Zoe.
Yeah, she's a lot like me. We're pretty similar people, which is interesting.
Do you ever feel like you live in like a very cliche, like New York comedy sitcom type vibe?
No, I think people would be surprised at how normal mine and Jack's apartment life is. Like,
Okay.
It's pretty like when we're not like making YouTube videos or doing stuff, we kind of just like go about our own days, like mind our own business type stuff. Like it blows me away how like clean we are. Like that shocks me. Like I'm like, oh, especially going from college when like a dorm room is just absolute anarchy, disgusting. To like now it's kind of just like, oh, it's a lot more normal than you would imagine.
I recently found out that your living room theme is birds.
Yes, that's Caitlin.
How did we land on that?
No idea.
Okay.
I fully give creative control to her.
Okay.
Whatever she wants to do with the living room, she can do.
I posted something on my close friend story. And
She told me about
yeah,
this.
I don't know if I don't know. Yeah, I think she did buy it. And I asked Jack about it recently, and he was just like, yeah, I don't know. I just gave him my credit card. And so I don't know if it happened or not. So
Sometimes you just got to let her buy a bird.
that's fine. That's fine. And fun fact, she actually made the We Got Ice logo.
No, she's been like a secret unsung hero.
Yeah.
For all of this. I always told Jack I found it very inspiring how they've been dating since freshman year of college, how she's been so supportive of him.
Yeah.
Because they were like, even now, like we work a lot, like especially when we first started to be like 70, 60 hours a week. And I was like, I never understood how he was able to balance that. And it was like, she's always been just so helpful and like always wanted to help, which I always found very wholesome.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love
Who
it.
said the name We Got Ice first?
That's one of the things that like, a lot of people say, oh, this was like dumb luck. I actually give us a lot of credit for that because we spent like 3 weeks. We had like meetings, we had boards of logos, a bunch of ideas, designs. Like we treated it like we were building a brand. So Jack said it, and it was the first idea we came up with 100 more, and I think we just were like, oh, that one's the best, and then we went to that. It's also like a baseball saying.
Yeah.
So it's like that was our category, was like baseball sayings. Like can of corn was one of them. We had a bunch of others. And it was like baseball sayings that players could relate to, but also sounds kind of cool. So that's where we landed.
And that
Can
even
of
if
corn would not have been it.
Yeah, I
No, it
can't
wasn't.
imagine you guys
getting mad at can of corn.
And we always shorten we got ice to ice. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
corn's here. Like,
yeah, all the corn guys are
Hey,
here.
corn is a good band, all right?
My dad loves that you guys are We Got Ice because he coached my brother growing up, and they always would yell that in the dugout when they got hit, like, we got ice. When I told him that was the name of your brand, my dad was like, that's so dope. Like, he
So
loved
inside
it.
baseball, I love it.
I really enjoy that. I like that it landed that if you don't like baseball, you like the name. I get that a lot. People don't know what it means. Less people know what it means than more. Like a lot of people just have no idea what it means. But if you're really into baseball, then it's kind of like a double entendre. You're like, oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. So you guys obviously create a lot of content around baseball, and knowingly, unknowingly, you're Red Sox fans.
Yeah.
But you guys kind of shy away from what we see Jimmy and Jake do with the Yankees. They're obviously Yankees guys. Why did you guys take that path with content creation and kind of stay away from the fandom aspect of it?
Well, I think we were very heavily inspired by Jomboy Media, obviously. So I feel like when you get inspired by somebody knowingly, you naturally want to separate yourselves. So one of ours, also we didn't want to be niche, like especially. Our goal now is to become even less niche. Like we're trying to figure out how to like get even broader. So like if you're a fan of a certain team, it's just so niche. And also Jimmy and Jake have, I think, already set the bar of how big a single fan of a team can be.
Yeah.
So it'd kind of always be trying to be number 2
Yeah.
in that category, which is just something that I wasn't very interested in.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I do have a question, Sam.
Ooh.
Well, I want to know what your first impressions of me and Jack were. Because you came to Blitzball. I think I met you at Blitzball, but like you weren't there. For
I
a bit,
know.
right?
I literally the worst day of my life. Got COVID like 2 days before Blitzball 1.
The worst day of your life.
It sucked. And Blitzball
sad.
1, like
That's sad.
COVID was taken very seriously. We had Rose there, and Rose was going to the Super Bowl the next week. He's like, I cannot get sick. I'll come to this, but I can't get sick. So me, along with like 4 other people, tested positive. Anyway, I finally was like free from quarantine the very championship game. I texted Jimmy and Jake. I'm like, hey, can I come? And they're like, yeah. So I came, got there. I knew who you were because Kyle was like obsessed with you guys.
Kyle was
and then
also an
PBD
unsung
was. So
hero.
I like always would see your stuff from them or like have heard about like We Got Ice guys. And then was it after Blitzball 1 where I guess it was after Sunday because it's the only day I was there. We were like back in a hotel room. Like I think it was like me, Zach, BBD, Kyle, like maybe, and I think you
I
and
do.
Jack.
Were we playing like Mario Baseball or something?
I don't know.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we ended up in a large room and we were all hanging out. And I remember Jack was really quiet. And you were probably like a little bit more chatty, but like I didn't know much, and I didn't know the plans of like that you guys would come on and whatever. I just like was out of it. But everyone spoke so highly of you guys and thought you were amazing and like the second coming of Jimmy and Jake. So I was like, okay, great. And then and like you and PBD had so many inside jokes and like you guys were tight. And then I was like, all right, I want to be friends with them.
I do vividly remember that. I remember when we went. I don't know why this sticks out to me, but we went. Or when you came that day, Jake was like, "This is my friend Lorenzo," and she was like, "No, he's my friend now." And I was like, "Who's this girl?" I was like, "All right, yeah, I'm your friend."
That's sure. That seems on brand. But yeah, I think it was just that, and then you guys started coming just like to the office every day, and I was like, all right, fun, cool, and then
A year ago
yesterday.
I know Sarah gave me the sweetest card. She gave me and Jack a card that said "Happy 1 year anniversary" at working at Jomboy. I was like, That's so nice. Thank
So
you
what's
so
on my calendar?
I was
Oh,
like,
that's
I
so
feel
exciting.
like I should have given you something.
Sarah's 1 year was also yesterday.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
started on the
And
same
then
day.
Jeremy's is today.
And I like totally
I think
forgot.
Rob Moretti's was yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I felt bad. I was like, I forgot. I was like, that's my bad.
Oh, you guys started on the same day. That's so great.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I don't really have quite too
I was
much of a
hoping you
memory.
had a roast of me is what I was hoping.
No. Oh, well, and then I know because I would sometimes go with them to the back alley at Bats to do stuff, but didn't go to Sleepy Hollow because that was far. But yeah, I remember watching that episode and it was really funny. You guys remember like movies you hadn't seen or like something. I was like,
still
oh,
refuse
this
to watch
this like
movies.
makes me laugh.
I did watch a movie this weekend though. On the train ride home, I watched Dazed and Confused for the first time.
Never
I
seen
actually
it.
really liked it.
It's a good movie.
It was good.
We were just talking about that over there because Jeremy came in today and said, "Have you guys seen The Breakfast Club?" And we were all like, "Yes."
Oh, Jeremy just saw The Breakfast Club?
Last night.
Wow.
And he was like, I was like, everyone's seen it. Like,
very-
I don't watch movies. We're the same
Yeah.
in that. And like, I've seen that. And I was like, Jeremy. And then he was like, we were like, what other movies haven't you seen? And Tom DeFino was like rattling things off.
Oh,
And he was
Tom
like, Dazed
snapped?
and Confused.
He's just finally had enough.
Yeah,
He's like,
he's just
guys,
like,
you
"Go and watch
understand?
Dazed."
I sit next to him every day. He refuses to watch The Godfather. I love when people get like that about certain things. You mean you haven't seen this movie? This movie
Yeah.
saved my life.
Yeah.
And I'm
He's
like,
like,
all
"No."
right.
The passionate, like, just
The
it seeps
diehard
out,
love
yeah.
for it.
Yeah. When did you meet Zoe and Jack?
I didn't meet them until they came into the office on the
I don't
first
think
day.
I did either.
No,
But there was so much hype around them.
Yeah.
There
That's
was like,
so fascinating to me.
there was
So
like
much hype.
the We Got Ice.
That's
And I
weird.
knew, I didn't watch all of Blitzball Battle 1.
Yeah.
That was before I started, but I watched like a little of it, and Blitzball Battle 1 awards, I believe, were coming out right when I started.
Okay.
So I think, because I think it was, we were shooting One Inning League when I started, and
Yeah.
Blitzball Battle 1 was airing. So it was like right around like the awards, and I just remember like trying to help and like seeing them, like their faces, and the We Got Mice, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
yeah,
That was
Like
weird.
who are? Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm like, what? Like it felt like the whole thing was a bit. Like I didn't think they were real people.
Same.
And then there was so much hype around them. Like when they graduate, they're
Yeah.
they're working here and like whatever and like all. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll just meet them when they get here. And
Yeah.
I was excited, and because I was like, these two were like celebrities around the office.
Yeah.
That's wild to me. That is something that I really did enjoy about Blitzball Battle Free compared to Blitzball Battle 1, which was such a luxury and something I'll always like hold dearly. Is that I feel like in Blitzball Battle 1 we were very new and we obviously didn't work here. So like even like an example is like the We Got Mice jerseys. We were kind of like playing off of what like bits that people had already set or like trying to find our role.
Yeah.
And I feel like this tournament we were able to set it.
Yeah.
And like
Yes.
we were like we came up with our own alternate jerseys. We were able to kind of create our own
Yeah.
narrative and be like, this
That's
is
cool.
who we are and this is like what we want people to get from watching us. So I thought that was a cool feeling when I watched it back. Like, oh, it was the first tournament that I've watched back that I liked watching of us. Like I usually don't watch
Yeah.
videos that I'm in, but I was like, oh, I actually enjoyed the characters and the narrative that we were in this tournament.
And y'all's channel popped off at like during the warehouse.
It was
games.
kind of simultaneous.
Yeah.
It was right before Blitzball Battle Free. We got a pretty good bump, and then as that has happened, I kind of think it's been like a mutual exchange of
Yeah.
goods. It's been like, oh, we're growing really well at this time, and so are you guys. So like, it's kind of whenever a game would happen, it would kind of benefit both channels really nicely.
So I have one more question. Then if anyone else has questions,
I have
but
questions for you guys.
perfect. What is your ultimate dream?
What do you mean?
Like I know
like,
you.
it's my dream today.
Like you and I have talked about this a little bit, just about like job and career, and maybe stand up, maybe like things like that. So career wise, I feel like it obviously changes a lot in the digital space, and so it could be today. What is your dream today?
My current, well, I go goals instead of dreams.
Yeah.
I'm more of a goal person, because a dream without a goal is just a dream. Like
Yeah,
it's not like
it's true.
It's not anything. So I just go from one goal at a time, and then when I hit that goal, I set a new goal. Right now, my goal is to grow We Got Ice to be the largest baseball channel ever. Like I want to pass the main Jomboy Media channel. I want to have the most YouTube subscribers of anyone who does baseball content. And then once I achieve that, I kind of realign where I want to focus on. So that's kind of my current goal.
Okay.
But like my lifetime goal, or like what I really want to do, is I just want to entertain. And in order to like stay lasting in an entertainment industry, you have to adapt.
Yep.
So like I would like to do stand up. I would like to do like skits, I would like to like act and stuff. I want to just continue to just be on camera because I really liked being on camera. So that's kind of like my long-term goal is just stay relevant enough to keep doing this as a job.
I love that. I'd go to your stand-up. We'd all go.
We're like 5 years away from that. But
That's fine.
It'll happen when I'm like 27 and I have a functioning washing dryer. then I'll be like, if I can get my washer dryer fixed, I can do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
I agree. And then it could be a bit in your stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Jack will get there before I will.
The apartment at Bats probably doesn't help y'all's case a lot with the landlord, I will say.
That's interesting because there are videos that we create that are more fun for us to do. It's kind of the balance of YouTube. It's like what video you really like to make versus what video does really, really well.
Yeah.
And if you find that mix, obviously, like, congratulations, you've made it. But, like, those videos were a lot more fun, I feel like, for the audience than they necessarily were for us because they were very stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Kind of in our apartment. Like, we can't really break anything. Like, we don't want to upset our neighbors, like, because we live here. Like, we don't want... So those were always, like, when the first one did really, really well, like, our plan was... Our plan was to not do it again, but we kind of had to. And I always like to stop content early. Like if something, I would rather stop doing a video series that's getting 1 million views and just stop it than wait till it dies and then stop it. Like I'd rather just kill it early and just be, I don't want to do that anymore.
Makes sense. That was my last question. So what questions do you have before we wrap this up? Anyone?
I feel like I don't know. Zoe, do you have questions?
I kind of have questions for Taylor. You fascinate me because I feel like you serve kind of as like my mom here. Like I feel like when
I agree.
I feel like when there's like something important, Taylor's kind of like, all right, Zoe, you need to do this. I do appreciate that you're always brutally honest with me. You're always like, Zoe, do this
because I know you don't take it.
Yeah, you don't baby me, which
like,
I appreciate.
I'll be like straight up with you and Jack because I know you guys can take it.
Like when we went, I think a good example is when we had to go to like Amtrak trip to DC. I was kind of being a baby, and you were just like, "You guys just shut up and do it."
I was like, "All right, we're gonna have fun today, right? Like, we're gonna like." I was like,
fully activated mom mode.
Yeah,
you
were like,
"All
come
right."
on, boys.
Which I felt like I really appreciated. So I don't know.
And that was fun.
That was fun. Do you want to do social media long term?
That's such a good question. I never saw myself doing social media. I wanted to be a team photographer forever. Yeah. And then I got really close and I was like, oh my God, I'm one step away from the thing that I think I'm going to want to do for the next 50 years. And that's terrifying. So I think I was nervous to be stuck there. And then social media kind of fell into my lap. And then I do like it, but what I like more about it isn't like the day-to-day posting. I like the working with like Luke and Jeremy and like you guys and like doing more of like the logistics and like the behind the scenes kind of social that like helps grow like the numbers and like those kind of things and like the revenue. Like I like that side of it better.
Do you get like sad like if you make a clip and like you post it and it goes like nuts on like a Jomboy channel, does that like make you like satisfied? You're like, oh, does that kind of hit for you, or would you rather like have like a conversation with somebody about like an idea, and does that give you more
like that? I get way more out of that.
Okay, so that's very interesting.
Yeah, but when I do when something does hit, I'm not happy like, oh, I made that clip. I'm like, something popped off today.
Collective.
Like yesterday I was on shift during the day. We had the Ellie De La Cruz, the Manoa, and the DeGrom news like back to back to back, and I was like, we had 3 bangers today. Like, I don't care that I'm the one that posted them. I just care that like we had 3 like huge hitters on the. Does that make sense?
No, that makes a lot. You're kind of more interested in this brand success. Than the individual
like let's like get this thing going.
That's interesting because I find people who do like social media managers or even editors are the most underappreciated people in the content industry because it's kind of especially social media, because at least if you're an editor, you kind of get a voice in the process of especially if it's a YouTube video. But like a social media person is like as soon as you press post, you have to move on. Like you can't become invested, and if that clip does well, because you have to make another one, right? Like in the next like an hour. So that always interests me. My other question, Sam, is why are you going to win floorball MVP?
I'm not, but Baggage will win.
I hate that answer. That's a terrible answer.
Will win the championship.
Why can't it be both?
Because someone more, some like a content creator should win.
Well,
we'll see.
I don't need to be the MVP. I'd rather just have my team win. I think I will. I will have a great performance. And that doesn't mean I need to win MVP.
Such a diplomatic.
But I'm
It is.
extremely
It is.
excited to
I
play.
hated that answer. Sam, I hated how professional you were. Right
I'm
there.
I'm
just here for
so
the team
serious.
success, and
Yeah.
I'm here for.
It's such a press conference answer.
Yeah, what the hell, man? I want to see you be like, I'm gonna go win MVP, and we're gonna win the banner, and I'm gonna be the best player there.
No, I don't need to do all that. I just want
I want you
to
do-
win.
I want you to do all that minus the winning part.
I would like it to come down to baggage and either McFlurry or ice in the championship.
Oh, because Nick is on McFlurry?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait to be a part of like
Who
the
would you
booth
rather
and
be?
just kill that.
I'd rather beat
narrative.
him.
I think it's more funny if you beat him.
I'd rather beat him.
I think it's funny.
No, I think it's gonna be great. I think we have a really fun and cool pool and roster of people with balanced teams. Thank you very much. And I think it'll be great.
I haven't declared you officially in my head as my enemy yet, so I have to kind of
Ooh.
get there. Because I thought we were gonna have like an alliance coming in this tournament, but you're.
I'm
already-
open to that. You just right away jumped to being enemies.
No, I feel like you've kind of begun the enemy narrative. I feel like you have.
Okay.
Like yesterday, you were like, "I want to become," which was
That was
very,
a compliment to you.
No, it was very sweet. But I also hated this because Sam said to me yesterday, "I want to become the you of floorball," and I was like, "No, you should want to become the you of floorball. Like I want you to
Yeah.
become like."
Yeah.
Just say I want you to score like 10 goals and like never celebrate. Just like be Sam and just be like
And
kinda
just like, yeah, another one.
Just like chilling. Like
Another one.
Yeah, this is
No,
kinda
I
my
just
shit.
want Rose to say what he says about you to say about me. So that I practice really hard. Now I'm so much better.
That is like, but you were
all
already,
that I want.
But you're already really good.
No, people just didn't have any expectations for me.
Oh yeah, me either.
They're gonna this time though.
Oh, yeah.
We hit the Sam game last floorball.
Yeah,
Hey, you scored
big
a hat
time.
trick in a game.
Yeah,
Kinda
Big
so I
time.
just need to do that again.
Hey,
Which is why I'm practicing.
I'm rooting for you to fail. I'm kidding.
Well, on that, God, what a lovely, perfect, great note to end on.
Now I actually made Sam my enemy.
I love
She's
it.
gonna go remove one of our teammates. And be like, That's
Like,
enough.
Yeah, you guys aren't having this person. Zoe, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you for
on.
having me. I very much appreciate it.
You're welcome back anytime. Literally anytime you want to
Yeah,
come
once you come on, it's
I'm
that's-
open
whenever
to
you
come
want to
on.
Yeah,
come.
then
Yeah,
there's no rules.
whenever you want to come back on, you're welcome.
Thank you. And guys, remember to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe and subscribe to We Got Ice. Bye.
Bye.